right, everybody. Well, happy home ownership month, right? National Home Own June. I bet you didn't know that. In fact, I didn't know it, but I do now. So we're celebrating. So happy home ownership month for all those who observe. We're here today with a significant announcement, a really positive one. So we're in front of a house that exemplifies efforts that we've undertaken over the last many years, the last decade or so, to increase home ownership. We've done that in a number of ways through a number of programs, but not the least of which has been the city's existing first-time homeowner program, which, as the name implies, helps activate houses that are vacant or foreclosed upon, and by getting folks who are looking to buy but haven't been able to pull together the financing to put down, especially a down payment, or to get rental assistance, or just to know like sort of the basics around home ownership. It's been a successful program over many years, and it's one that has been funded at fairly modest levels with community development block grant funds, some private funds, funds from mass housing, and other sources. And so it's been an effort to cobble funding together. But we're standing in front of a house right here on 85 Newton Street that was one just a few years ago, was falling apart, was in disrepair, was reactivated when an eligible owner was able to secure funding through the city's program to have a little piece of equity, a little piece of the American dream, and that's what we're talking about today. We're in a city that, like every city, I just got back 4 hours ago from the U.S. Conference of Mayors meeting in Kansas City this week, and everybody's talking about home ownership and about housing and about how the housing market is greatly constrained in really every American city these days. It plays out differently in different cities, or in the major metros. It's marked by lots of folks, upwardly mobile folks who are moving in and crowding out others. Here it plays out in other ways, but it's all the same in the sense that you have people who need housing and need it fast. And what we're trying to do here is accomplish a couple things: get people into houses that are because they need housing, but also to help them build equity and build wealth and pursue the American dream. And so what we're announcing today is a new commitment, a supersizing of this program, this long existing program. We're going to be putting $500,000 of ARPA funds into this program. We know that there is a great deal of interest in it. This particular house got 25, I think it was 25,000. Was it 25,000, Josh, from the city? From 20. So this is $20,000 made this one happen, just by way of example, from the city. And there's a couple of other complementary sources, but of that scale. What we're doing is another 500,000 that we want to get out the door as quickly as possible. We know that we have a lot of interest in it, so we're pleased to do that today. So here's to quote the president. Here's the deal. So for eligible home buyers, you can get up to $25,000 toward your down payment on a house, and then if you are a city employee, you can get up to another $10,000. The deal is that you don't have to pay it back if you agree to live in it for at least 5 years. You can be eligible if you are at or below 120% of mean area income. So area meaning Greater New Bedford. And so right now, for a single person, 120% of AMI, area median income, is $92,000. So there's a fairly broad eligibility category, and the reason for that is that all these houses still require the funding to purchase and to rehabilitate these houses still requires a mortgage, and so you have to be eligible to get a mortgage assistance. The good news also is that There are other sources of funding, and one of them is mass housing. We'll hear from Goretti Jokum in a moment about the funds available also from the state. We have, but altogether, what we're trying to do is to get people housed so they can enable their kids to go to school, they can build a family, can build wealth, they can pursue the American dream. We're really excited about the prospects of this program, what it's going to mean for homeowners around the city, and we suspect that it is going to be eagerly subscribed to. So I wanted lots of thanks to go around. I want to thank Congressman Keating and the federal delegation for their support of ARPA, the American Rescue Plan Act, and the state and local COVID relief component of the ARPA funds. Liz Rhoda from Congressman Keating's office is here, and we really appreciate the congressman's support. I want to just thank Alexandra Vasconcelos, who's the city's affordable housing specialist as well, and Lori Mooring, who's also in the same office, who does a lot of this work. In particular, I want to thank our housing director, Josh Amaral, for making this all very real. We have an existing program, but there are all sorts of complicated reporting requirements, not only for the program itself or some of the ordinary funding streams, but also there's a whole lot of ARPA reporting, but also more particularly for setting this whole thing up and doing it in a way, we have to do this in a way that's fair and even-handed and transparent, and that's easier said than done. And so Josh has done a great job in teeing the whole thing up. And so I will tee him up now to speak about the program details. Josh, come on up.
Thank you, Mayor. Good morning, everybody. When I think about what the Office of Housing and Community Development does, I think an apt description is what we're doing here today, standing in front of 85 Newton Street, a modest home here in the city's West End, out in the neighborhood making an announcement like this that we're all very, very excited about. We continue to make progress on our Building New Bedford housing plan that was released spring of 2023. Expanding our first-time homebuyer program, as well as our repair options, which I'll get into in a little bit, were key parts of that plan, and so we're delivering on that promise here today. We remarked at the time that the Building New Bedford plan has ideas that range all across the policy spectrum. Really, the through line was things that make sense for us in New Bedford. There's some talk in housing circles about down payment assistance programs, first-time homebuyer programs in a tight market, right? We're putting more money in some ways does subsidize the demand side, right? So we're trying to produce more units on the supply side to drive costs down. But here we're putting money into the purchases. And I think the reality is it just makes sense for New Bedford residents. This is a program for New Bedford residents. There are too many people out there who have dreamed of home ownership and are now finding themselves locked out of the market with starter home mortgages at $3,000 and $4,000 a month. The gap is wider than ever. And so the purpose of this program is to close that gap and to allow people the dream of home ownership, or to help people achieve that dream of home ownership. It also helps, of course, that many of those folks are renters, and when they move to their new home, they will be freeing up that rental unit in a market that's really difficult to navigate as well. So creating opportunities here, competitiveness for New Bedford residents in the first-time homebuyer kind of marketplace is a really important goal of this program. We don't want anybody in New Bedford to have to look outside of New Bedford to buy their first home. We want them to stay right here. An important part of what we're talking about, the mayor mentioned the 120% AMI income requirements for this program. That's consistent with what the ARPA regulations allow. We're excited about that, in part because many folks below that income don't qualify for mortgages right now. Like I said, $3,000 and $4,000 a month. It's very difficult to do in lower income bands. We have an existing program that helps with up to $10,000 of down payment or closing cost assistance for those under 80% of the area median income. It's important to know that these programs work together. So if someone is below 80% of the area median income, they can reap the $25,000 or $35,000 of this program in addition to that 10. Plus, we have some additional gap financing, loans and options like that that can assist with folks. I want to give credit to Kevin Sullivan and Alex Vasconcelos on our team, who have done a lot of the heavy lifting in putting this program together. Lori Mooring, Deputy Director, who's not able to make it today, but oversees this work for our office and does a really fantastic job. The goals of this program, the priority from the start has been to put the needs of the home buyer first. Even in the funding that's available, it's something of a sliding scale, right? We want to efficiently use this public money to make it go as far as possible, so everybody won't receive the maximum. It'll really depend on the need of a given home buyer and what's affordable to them, and it'll all kind of come into play in that process. We also feel very strongly we want to incentivize home ownership here in the city. Owner occupancy is really important, especially in neighborhoods where owner occupancy has been less than it is in other parts of the city. And so we want to encourage that through the purchase of multifamily properties and things of that nature. Our home repair programs, which I mentioned earlier, we're also expanding with ARPA funds, and that's part of today's announcement, is to consider that. Those who take advantage of this first-time homebuyer program may be buying a home that needs some touch-ups, needs lead abatement, needs different things. We've long done that in our office. We're infusing ARPA funds in there as well to assist and expand that program. In addition to just the first-time home buyers, additional ARPA funds will be used to expand our repair programs for everybody, so you don't have to just buy a home through this program. We'll also have additional money in the pool for that. It's a grand total of $1 million between the programs. I want to credit the Fall River New Bedford Housing Partnership. It's a group of social service agencies, lenders, and others that come together and meet periodically to discuss the home buying market trends in that area and how to help people through programs just like this one. Lori Mooring from our office is an instrumental member of that, as is Goretti Joachim, who you'll hear from shortly. I also want to acknowledge we have representatives here from Bristol County Savings Bank, as well as Bay Coast, Mass Housing, and we couldn't do this work without partners in the lending world who understand it and are looking to work with home buyers that are not always traditional fits for lending to make sure that we can make those dreams come to reality. Lastly, I'll leave you with this. For more information about the programs, please visit our website. We're on the City of New Bedford website. You can go to the Housing and Community Development Department. You can also find the City of New Bedford Office of Housing and Community Development on Facebook. You can give us a call at 508-979-1500. We've got a flyer going out shortly in multiple languages, and we're looking forward to getting that initial burst of enthusiasm and energy in the program. And it will really take a one-on-one approach. So everybody's a little bit different, every situation's a little bit different, and so we will work hand in hand with you to make that a reality. So again, I want to acknowledge the hard work of our team. They'll be carrying this project out over the years to come, and we couldn't be more excited to be working together on this. So with that, I will turn it over to Goretti Joachim from Mass Housing.
Thank you so much. Good morning, everyone. First and foremost, I want to thank Mayor Mitchell and Josh and his team for the huge commitment that the City of New Bedford has had with Mass Housing throughout the years, and also the partnership that Josh mentioned. Myself and Lori Mooring are the co-chairs of the Fall River New Bedford Housing Partnership, and many of the borrowers that we serve find information, get education, and visit our website, which is frnbhp.com. So we also have lenders here who have a huge commitment to affordable housing and have been with us since 2007 when the partnership was first established. So it's important to recognize the work that we are all doing as a collaborative effort and continue to do. I'm very excited to hear about the new DPA and programs that the City of New Bedford has to offer, because this borrower right here was able to access not only the city's funds, but Mass Housing's funds. And when you can combine these programs and funds together is when a borrower is able to purchase their first home. We're proud to say at Mass Housing that's a huge commitment for us. We've done 300 loans in the City of New Bedford, and just about 50% of those were to BIPOC borrowers. So the underserved community that we are able to help together as a partnership. So again, I want to thank the city. I want to thank Mayor Mitchell, Josh, and everyone who showed up here this morning. Please visit masshousing.com so you can find out more information. We have $30,000 in down payment assistance available, as well as $25,000 in down payment assistance that can be used in conjunction with the new funds being announced by the city today. So this will make a huge difference for borrowers being able to qualify. And we all know that first-time home buyers have some hurdles. These things, these programs, they matter, they make a difference. So thank you. And please visit our website. Thank you very much.
Thank you, appreciate it. All right, yeah, no, the two of them said it all, and I really appreciate the collaboration. What's the upshot of this? The upshot is this, that home ownership is the keystone to the American dream, and that this program is a really easy way for a lot of folks to get there. And so we encourage people, come on out and see if you're looking for a home right now, especially in a high interest rate environment, this may be for you. So please, we really want people to take advantage of this. All right, I'll open it up for questions. Anybody?
I mean, you guys talked about the $25,000 and $30,000 that's currently in the I don't want to be in the middle of it. Maybe increase it in the future and help out more communities, but down the line increase it to 35, 40.
Well, we'd love to, right? But this represents an increase of what? Currently
it's 10 now.
It's 10 now, so we're more than doubling it.
With the mass housing programs,
yeah.
It's up to...
Yeah, this represents a pretty significant... You want to just speak to the scale of the increase?
Yeah, I appreciate the question. So our ordinary program was $10,000 with some additional assistance that could be used to close gaps. We cited the home here, which was $20,000 of assistance. So we're offering a maximum of $25,000 to the general public here. Those that are city employees are eligible for a little bit more, but almost everybody who qualifies for this program will also qualify for the mass housing program, which could get somebody up to $50,000. When you get into the potential need for repairs, which would be a separate pool of money on top of that, you're talking about a fairly generous package. We saw the great success of Mass Housing's Mass Dreams program, which worked in a similar fashion. We saw, a number of awards between, I think it was about an average of $35,000, which is how we kind of landed on some of these numbers, but some as high as $50,000, and then some that leverage additional programs above that. So we think we're well in line. Kevin Sullivan from our office, as part of this planning process here, concocted a number of exercises where we took sort of sample cases, sample household incomes, and then tried to back out what it would take in down payment or even interest rate buy down to make home ownership an affordable reality for someone. We generally want to see someone paying no more than a third of their income. In some cases, with home ownership, it's a little bit higher. People extend themselves a little bit more for that equity and to do that, but we don't want anybody to stretch too far beyond that. They're unlikely to be approved for a mortgage anyway. And so we tried to figure out what the right number was, and then also how to allocate the ARPA resources appropriately to try to help as many people as possible within reason. So we think we set that right, but we'll certainly monitor how it goes over the next few months and adapt if we need to.
Yeah, I think the other point is, though, it makes a lot of sense. And the other thing is we'll be able to do more of these awards than we have in the past. So the annual allocation has been what?
Fairly slight. I mean, we've only done a few in the last few years, right? How many have we done last year? None last year, because at 80% AMI, nobody's been qualifying for a mortgage. So.
Yeah, so we think that this money's going to go out the door pretty quickly, and so at $25,000, you're talking 20 awards. So that's maybe the biggest benefit. So that the actual individual allocations will go up, not insignificantly, but there'll be more awards given out.
Thank you.
What are the requirements of the homeowners who would take a part of this program?
Yeah.
So every home buyer will have to go through a training course. So a first-time homeowner class, which we're also excited to announce, and this will be in the press release, that our office is relaunching our home buyer education course. prospective home buyer doesn't necessarily have to take our course. They just have to take one that's approved by CHAPA in some way. Ours is, but there are others out there that might work for somebody else. We're really pleased about that. Every home is inspected. We'll have a walkthrough. We expect them to be up to code. If they're not, we obviously have assistance available to assist with that, but we don't want to aid anybody in getting into a home that's not appropriate for them to live in or is not code compliant. Once they're in the home, we are requiring them to live in the home for 5 years. That's a little less restrictive than our existing program. Part of the goal of this program is to embrace some of the flexibilities of the ARPA funding. So it makes it easier to monitor, it makes it easier to get the money out the door, and we find, generally speaking, people have been pretty faithful to that. People want to get into a home and they want to stay there for a while. So we wanted to measure, the need to have strong accountability for the funds and make sure that the public funds are used appropriately with, reasonable and modest requirements on the home buyer, rather than, in the past we've heard at times programs that function as loans rather than grants can be a deterrent to folks. We've also heard, annually having to fill out paperwork and having my home inspected and things like that can be a barrier. People feel, some loss of dignity in that sense. So we wanted to make this as clean as possible while, make sure the requirements are met and making sure we're acting responsibly.
Yeah, go ahead, Chris.
Can you speak to the reasoning behind why you have a higher limit for city employees?
I think it's one more benefit to give city employees to sort of couch it in the language of ARPA. It's to a lot of folks who are employed by the city, and again, there's been turnover since the pandemic for sure, but we had a lot of folks who worked right through the pandemic, including emergency personnel, and so ARPA, both in the statute as well as in the regulations, encourages some sort of recompense for that service. We're not limiting it to folks who worked during the pandemic. Of course, I think that would be administratively cumbersome to do. But I think, but fundamentally, I think it's just one more thing that we can do for city employees who work very hard, but also work in a city government that is, as we all know, constrained for resources. To pay them more. If you want anything to add to that,
Just a comment. Well, we're talking about a very diverse community as well, and there are a lot of people that maybe don't speak English, the first language. What are some of the support or help that we also have for the minority community in the area?
So you're talking about non-English speaking folks?
Right.
Yeah, so this will be pushed out in not just in English, right?
Yeah, we have the flyer ready to go today in 4 languages. We're also fortunate to have multilingual folks in our office. Alex Vasconcelos with us, who's heading up this program, is fluent in Portuguese. We have staff that are fluent in Spanish as well as Cape Verdean Creole. For speakers of other languages beyond that, we're certainly eager to find translation resources and make this program available to them. As a crucial element of the program is to make our outreach to those populations.
All right. Any other members of the media have questions? All right. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Good to see you here. Congrats on to everybody who gets this in advance. It's going to be a really good program. Thanks, everyone.